Hello everyone, my name is Tom Dr. Q. Rossman, and I'd like to welcome you to America's Got Artistic Pool. Well, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the history of artistic pool. Now, artistic pool is kind of a foreign name for some players and for many people in the industry, but we also refer to that as trick shots and so much more. Trick shots and so much more basically is an example of the first discipline of trick shots and fancy shots together, and then we have 7 other disciplines. So the history of our sport has grown over the years from something as simple as trick shot exhibitions and trick shots you might see on a pool table to a sport similar to gymnastics. So gymnastics has many different disciplines under its umbrella. Artistic pool is an umbrella of the 8 disciplines. We have trick and fancy shots, we have special arts, we have draw shots, we have follow shots, we have bank kick, we have stroke, we have jump, and we have masse. That's a total package of shots that you can enjoy when you're watching artistic pool. Now this goes back a ways in the history of the game to where there were a lot of players like George Middleditch and Minnesota Fats and Willie Mosconi and Jimmy Karras, and my favorite was Ralph Greenleaf. That was kind of my mentor when I was growing up, looking at his old footage. And so this history goes way back to where they primarily just did the shots for exhibitions. But in present day mode of artistic pool, we've brought it to a whole other level of competition and fun, and even people making careers out of it now, doing shows around the country and just having a whale of a time at this game. So the next time you want to have fun, join the history of artistic pool. Well, I've said quite a bit about the artistic pool movement, the history, how it grew from a fledgling little thing with just in the early 1990s, and now it's a major wave of the professional movement. Speaking of the professional movement, we need to show you a few of these players and some of the excitement that they enjoy on the table. This first guy is just absolutely amazing. He is an internet sensation. He's got more hits than everybody's ever had in the history of our sport in any discipline. That includes all the other disciplines combined. And he's somebody you all know about. He's from Las Vegas, Nevada right now, originally from France, but he's known as the Venom, Florian Kohler.
Hi, I'm Florian Kohler, but also known as Venom. If you're asking me where I got my nickname from, it's actually from my dad, because I was a poison for the table when I first started, which, to be honest with you, I still am. But you should have seen the state of the slate after I was done the first 2 years. It was pretty brutal. So yeah, definitely got the nickname Venom from my dad because I was an absolute poison to the tables. What got me into artistic pool? What got me into artistic pool is simply internet. I started to play pool, didn't know how to do, I didn't know how to play, even draw, follow, nothing. So I started to kind of look at videos on the internet, and a little while later I started to see all those trick shot videos, and it was just the beginning of YouTube, so nothing like it is right now, which is quite small. But we had a few guys already that were going at it, Eric Yo, P. Pooler. And then I started to redo what I saw it, and that's pretty much what got me into it. From there, I just did my own version of it, and competing was just a natural path to it. My greatest inspiration for artistic pool? I would say my greatest inspiration for artistic pool is certainly Mike Massey, who's a great friend of mine, but also especially a legend. He's absolutely the guy that sort of modernized trick shot and made it, sort of what we have today. It wasn't just setup shots. It was stroke shot, it was skill shots, and he really made it more popular by going on TV and going on tour. Of course, we have to give props to Tom Rossman as well, to give it, a special flair to it as well. But St. Mike is definitely, my go-to as far as artistic pool would do. But if I were honest, as far as my inspiration goes, I also take a lot from Sami Sagener. So Sami Sagener is actually a world champion three cushion player, but he happened to have done an insane DVD back then for artistic billiard, you know, the three cushion version of it, and that really just went in my head, and that's since the beginning that's what I was going for. You know, that was Sami, it was nothing else. I was trying to recreate what I was doing at the carom table into the pool table. My greatest achievement now, it's hard to say really what my greatest achievement is because I've had quite a few, you know, from World Cup to ESPN Trick Shot Magic to, you know, World Championships in Trick Shot. It's just, you know, the disciplines and everything. Say what my favorite achievement is in artistic pool, and in my opinion, Trick Shot is much more than just competition and artistic pool, you know, numbers. So yeah, of course, you know, I won ESPN Trick Shot Magic, I won the World Cup, I won so many disciplines, world titles there. Guinness books, but you know, really, I don't think this was ever the point. It was just a sort of a, you know, like a nice cherry on top of the cake. But really, what I think my proudest and biggest achievement is to have reached 1 billion views on the internet. And as I'm saying that, I'm about to reach 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is also pretty much unheard of. So I think, you know, that's really my proudest achievement, is that I was able to popularize so much this thing, and my own version of it, and you know, have so many newcomer and kids just, you know, doing it because of me. I am definitely the most demanding trick shot artist at this point, simply because, you know, I sort of changed the game when I did my show, and I was able to put not only, you know, crowd pleaser shots, but also skill shots, and I really have a wide array of shots that, you know, fits to everybody from, you know, people who don't know how to play pool to pro players to corporate people. So I get pretty fortunate here. I was able to, you know, market myself pretty well. My schedule is absolutely ridiculous. In 2019, I took 120 flights, I believe. The year before, 2018, was 130. Hopefully this year I got a little less because, you know, I'm really busy with the business. But to put it in perspective, there's not one weekend I am home in months. The positive point is I was able to see more than 44 countries, I believe, which I think, you know, playing pool is pretty damn cool. My favorite trick shot. This is another very complicated question, is what is my favorite trick shot? I invented so many, you know. More than often people forget to give me credit for how many shots I actually invented. I invented more than 10,000 new trick shots, so to pick one or two in there is very difficult. If I had to pick a couple though, I'd say obviously the double masse is something I'm known for, simply because I was the only one able to do it, not only in video but live on TV. That really was a big deal. And then my favorite of all, probably after the masse, is what we call the sting shots. So the sting shot is when you hit the ball to the rail, the ball goes in the air, and then you shoot it up in the air into something. And that was, again, you know, really rule breaking, you know, when it first started, because nobody ever thought about hitting a ball that's moving in the air. So yeah, that probably would be one of my favorite shots.
Well, you know, there's never been a movement of anything professional where there hasn't been a leader of the organization. Years ago, when the WPA got started, which I mentioned before, there was a division that was created called the Artistic Pool Division under the WPA. And there had to be a leader of that division with a board under them so they could run the movement. And this took place for years and years, and even to present day, we have an individual here who is the current president. His name is Bryan Pauly.
I got my nickname because I'm a huge nerd. So anyone who knows me knows that I love all the comic book movies, and my favorite superhero is Superman. So I was at a pool room for a local tournament, their weekly 9-ball tournament, and I was wearing a Superman shirt, and I did pretty well. So I just started wearing Superman shirts every week. It was kind of my thing. And the funny part was there were people that had known me for about a year or so from the pool room, had no idea what my first name was. To me, I should say to them, I was always Superman. I got into artistic pool by seeing a live trick shot show by a gentleman by the name of Steve Lillis, who's the president and founder of Gospel Trick Shot Ministries, which is an organization that I'm involved with now. It was a Derby City Classic 2008, and I went to go watch his show because I like trick shots and I'm a Christian person. And I kept in contact with Steve throughout the years. And in 2014, him and Dr. Q, Tom Rossman, were putting on a Partners Cup, kind of like a Pro-Am event. And I got partnered with my now good friend Jason Lynch, and we took second place. So in 2015, I played in all 3 pro ranking events and been doing it ever since. Some of my inspirations in artistic pool would probably have to be The Miz, Steve Mizrak starting off. His video, Amazing Trick Shots that he did with Ava Mataya and Jimmy Mataya was my first introduction to trick shots, but I love The Miz's his delivery, his shots, his humor. I still use some of that to this day in the shows that I do. But my other inspirations were probably the top 3, in my opinion. Trick shot artists would be Mike Massey, Tom Rossman, and Stefano Palenga. Stuff that they do was just crazy to think about when I was younger, and now that I'm doing some of their shots, it's pretty cool. Yeah, those 3 were probably my inspirations along with Steve. My greatest achievement would be my first discipline medal at the 2017 Masters Artistic Pool Championships. I won a special arts discipline medal in a fairly tough field. So anytime you win a discipline medal, it's pretty good. But since it was my first one, that's something special for me.
Well, by the time I get done with talking about this guy I'm going to introduce right now, you would have probably seen about 100 shots fly by like a race car going by you. He is the fastest shooter that I've ever seen in the game. He actually has a name called the Bayou Bullet, and he's just faster than a speeding bullet. He's like a Superman guy, even though that's not his nickname. And so what I really like about Jamie is he's got a lot of effervescence. He's a little bit of a shorter guy, so when he runs around the table, he's just like an Energizer Rabbit bunny running around that table. And man, what an amazing talent. So he hails out of Houston, Texas. I met him years and years ago when I was doing stuff out in Las Vegas, and he started to demonstrate some of his shots for me. And he was making 6 balls in less than like 3/4 of a second in the side pocket. Truly an amazing individual. So the next time you want to see some fast shooting, I want you to tune in to the Bayou Bullet, Jamie Moody. Well, the next guy is just absolutely amazing. He's one of the greatest cue makers in the billiard industry. In fact, on each side of me here, I've got a couple cue sticks, and Abram spends a lot of his time working on cues like this. It's amazing. He makes jump cues and masse cues and all types of artistic cues which are for the different disciplines that they shoot. And some of these guys will walk in maybe with 25, 30 cue sticks in a bag to use. Well, Abram's got a big part of that bag, so to speak. He gets in there, he works on the cues, puts the right tip on, and then not only on top of that, he executes the shots with these cue sticks to show that they all work. The guy's truly amazing. They call him Too Tall because he's a pretty tall guy and kind of looks down on the shots, but I'm going to tell you what, when you see him, you're going to feel tall yourself. So you enjoy this now. Abram Diaz, Too Tall.
My nickname, well, funny story on that. It was my sophomore year of high school. I played football and I was doing a strength and conditioning course, and one of the trainers there, the main guy, kept referring to me as Too Tall. And then I asked him, I was like, dude, I'm not that tall, even though I am 6'4". But he said I was too tall to be a Mexican. So thinking about it, yeah, it does kind of make sense, and the nickname just kind of stuck with me. What got me into artistic pool? Well, back in 2007, at the tail end of 2007, I started playing pool, and for about a month I considered myself to be a pretty decent player, but that's all that lasted. And then I was watching ESPN and saw Trick Shot Magic, and I saw the amazing stuff these guys were doing, and something happened. I can't really explain it, but I told myself that that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I haven't looked back since. Who are some of the people that inspired me in artistic pool? I would have to say Stefano Palinga and Mike Massey. Those two, very, very humble individuals took me under their wing years back. As well as Tom Rossman spent some time with me. And Eric Yao, he was one of the ones that put it out. He was one of the first ones to put it out there on the internet, along with Florian. Those two guys as well. They were my inspirations, and of course my parents. They've always been supportive. Back in 2016, I won the inaugural Mexican National Championship, and I traveled to Mexico City with my dad, my brother, and my brother-in-law. It was the first time my dad had actually seen me compete. So it was a really good day that I got to win in front of my father. The second one was I'm currently the #1 ranked player in the world by the WPA. That's a feat that took me 11 years. I'm a full-time queue repair guy, as you can see, and then I got other stuff over here. What got me into queue repair and queue building, and I build mass queues, so what got me into building the mass queues and the queue repair? Very simple. I mean, since I was a kid, I build my own toys. I got into building mass queues. Now, the mass queues, what got me into building those, a couple people. One of my mentors, God rest his soul, Dennis Diekman, he took me under his wing and he showed me a ton of stuff, and to this day I'm deeply grateful for that. He changed my life. And another one is Curtis Robertson out of Abilene, Texas. Robertson Custom Cues, check him out. Wasn't against sharing knowledge. I can pick up the phone or send him a picture and he can tell me what I need to look out for, what to be careful of, and how to do something that I have a question. Well, my favorite shot's gonna be the circular draw, because as a trick shot artist, there's 3 things you never forget. The day you do your first pro event, the day you win your first major title, and the third one is the day you make the circular draw for the first time, because it's one of the most difficult shots in competition today. Any type of stroke shot, power draw, fouette, force follow, and any stroke shot or power dry ball masse. Any of those shots, I can make the ball cry.
Well, for those of you that live in the state of Michigan, you've got an awesome talent right next to you up there. I know it's a pretty big state, but this guy's just a cue stick away from you, okay? His name is Jason Lynch, and he has become famous for his rapid style of play. Not only that, his stroke shot. He's got tremendous ability to, one of our disciplines is a stroke discipline. And this guy is just absolutely amazing what he can do on the pool table. So the next time you want to see somebody really stroke the cue ball really well, do an amazing shot with it, I want you to go and watch the videos and the footage, and go even visit him at an exhibition. His name is the Michigan Kid, Jason Lynch.
How did I get my nickname? Well, in 2004, when I went to my first tournament, I walked in the door, and evidently everybody that plays in an artistic pool tournament has to have a nickname. So I went up to pay my entry fee, and Tom asked me what my nickname was, and I didn't have one. How about the Michigan Kid? And so Tom Rossman named me, and the nickname stuck, and I've been using it ever since. Well, a couple things brought me to the sport. One of which was I really enjoyed watching Trick Shot Magic and the different things on TV with pool and stuff. But what really happened was Tom Rossman actually has a website. And what we did within my Relay for Life team, my local Relay for Life team, we did a fundraiser. And when I shot pool for 24 hours straight, I ended up sinking 11,100 balls in 24 hours. And we raised about $1,200. When it was all said and done, I went on Tom's website, in his forum, and posted a framework on how we did the fundraiser in case anybody else wanted to do a fundraiser similarly. Well, 2 weeks later, I get a call from Tom Rossman asking me if I'd like to shoot in an artistic pool tournament. I said yes, and the rest is history. I've been doing this since 2004. Who are some of the people that are my inspirations for artistic pool? I can name 3 right off the top of my head. One of which is Tom Rossman. He has humor, the way he interacts with crowds. Mike Massey, definitely one of them. Mike Massey is one of my heroes. Incredible stroke, great sense of humor. George Middleditch, he's actually a local player from Michigan. So those are 3 of my influences for artistic pool. What has been my greatest achievement? In life, I'd say the birth of my daughter, Grace. You know, I thank God for her every day, and nothing could ever top that. In the sport, I would say my longevity. I've been doing this for 15 years. I've had my ups and downs. I went through a divorce with my first wife. I lost my second wife to cancer. God has gifted me with a wonderful fiance now, and things are starting to come together again. And the blessings are starting to flow again. And the passion's still there for the sport, so I don't know how long I'll still be playing, but I'm going to keep swinging until the passion's no longer there. Shot's the one that kind of put me on the map a little bit. The record album Shot, actually, I created that as kind of a mad scientist in the basement of my home, and it involves a couple records that are bent over and they act like pool ball catapults, and a couple balls up on coin wrappers, and it's kind of just nuts. But I won the Sears Hit Us With Your Best Shot trick shot contest back in 2008 with that shot. I won a $5,000 gift card to Sears. So I'm not the only one that thought the shot was halfway decent.
Well, this next person is very, very special. He is a player who has come pretty much out of nowhere. He has a very special ability. He has autism, and he is a spokesman for the Autistic Association. I think it's the National Association, and it's an amazing thing. He does all kinds of special fundraising, but what makes this person so special, he takes his special ability and he transfers it to the pool table in the world of artistic pool. He has the highest record on a table for the most points out of a 320 shot program at 296 points. That's unheard of. We've had some in the 270s, I think one maybe around 280, but when you get around 296, you're almost perfecting the program. It's just like he's a machine when he gets on the table. Couldn't ask for a nicer spirit. The guy's got a great personality. He loves the game of artistic pool. I think he's currently ranked in the top 3. Actually, I think our top ranked player now is Abram Diaz. But the bottom line is that this guy is a top ranked player in everybody's game in his spirit and in the way he handles himself at the table. So I want you to enjoy William DeYonker. He's called the Gentleman. Enjoy everything he does on the table.
My name is William DeYonker, also known as The Gentleman. I'm a #1 world-ranked pool trick shot artist, and I'm also on the autism spectrum. The Gentleman nickname came from an airport one time when I was going down to Florida for a small tournament, and my folks and I were trying to figure out what kind of nickname we should have. And so what came about is we just thought of like all different kinds of names, because my username was Trick Shot Will previously on a YouTube channel back years ago. And so we thought of different names, and we came up with The Gentleman. And the Gentleman kind of stuck out that way for many years, probably. The reason why I asked my parents why a gentleman is because of your personality, Will. And so from that point on, the nickname has stuck to me since 2013. Well, what got me into artistic pool was, I can just say this briefly, because it started back when I was watching ESPN Trick Shot Magic, and Mike Massey and Tom Rossman were playing against for the title of the 2002 ESPN Trick Shot Magic title. And from that point on, when I saw that tournament on TV, it ignited my brain thinking that this is what I wanted to do. And so from that point on, from that day forward, since day one, I've been practicing numerous hours on the pool table and practicing probably 30, 40 hours a week, like almost like a full-time job. One of the best inspirational people in my lifetime, I remember at first, was Mike Massey and Dr. Q, Tom Rossman. It's because, you know, at the time when I saw them on TV, they were doing all these different shots on the pool table, and from that point on, it just became easily likable for me in my lifetime, because their personalities and the way they exemplify themselves on the table and on TV, it just made me think that this is probably what I'm going to do in the near future, and that's why I went on the pool table from there on to begin with. I was down in Colorado for the summer for interning at a video production company, True Media Foundation. And so during the time, what happened is that there was a tournament coming up called the ESPN Qualifier, and it was notified 2 or 3 weeks out. And so for that time, when I heard about the news, and it was the beginning of July, I just know at that point that I was not going to be able to go to the qualifier because I'm out here in Colorado while it's all the way in New Jersey. And so, and next, a couple minutes later, Chris Tribble, who I was rooming with, Airbnb style, he basically informed me, "Hey, Will," from across the room, "Hey, Will, my neighbor has a pool table right across the street. Do you want to go check it out?" And my brain was something tells me that I need to go to this tournament. When you know it, the next 2 weeks I was going to work, and then to practice for lunchtime, then go back to work, and then practice again during nighttime after dinner, and then rinse, repeat. And this happened like almost on an everyday basis. And so from that point on, since I was able to now go to this tournament, I went from Colorado all the way to Hartford, Connecticut to go to the tournament, and then the night before, I didn't have any sleep. And next thing you know, all of a sudden, like that day, with very little to no sleep, I pushed through the whole entire tournament, beat all legendary players, and won the ESPN qualifier title to be on ESPN Trickshot Magic. My other interest growing up before pool was always anything from like video games to movies or TV shows, anything like that. And then when it came time to, when I saw ESPN Trickshot Magic back then, I just decided to get into pool because of how creative the shots were I saw on TV. And so from that point, starting at 14 years old, went from a pool table and practiced for many hours, and the rest is history. What tied pool for me for ABA therapy is because this became pretty much like a relaxing game, because when you're on a pool table and you're just practicing the shots by yourself, it becomes its own self-relaxing technique for ABA therapy. Because the way how it goes for when I get on a pool table, I practice 8-ball or 9-ball, even trick shots. And when you do it for a period of time, next thing you know, you ended up having to reduce stress, and then by the time you're done practicing, that means you're done for it and you want to you gotta do something else. So I'm not good at artistic pool because of my autism. I am good at artistic pool, actually great at it because of the different abilities that I've gained from my practice and the learning experience from practicing many hours on end. With autism, you're basically encased in a shell, and everything inside you of what makes you so great could not be, break out of character. A person that doesn't really have the ability to express him or herself entirely because of the different inability to communicate because of the signals that you're not getting for the brain to express your personality as a whole. And so with pool and billiards, even trick shots, it gave me the ability to find something that I'm really great at, and at the same time, boost my confidence, self-esteem towards other people. Because through the support system that my folks have given me over the years, it helped me to find the ability to what I'm really confident with. And the pool table itself became my best friend because of helping me break out of my barrier of being in a shell. Well, the first shot that I've created back 5 or 6 years ago, it was called the body shot, where you have a girl laying on a table, and you put a pool ball on top of her navel, and then you shoot the cue ball into the ball on top of the navel, and then it'll knock the 3 or 4 ball off and go roll down and hit the rack, make the hanger ball in the corner pocket. From that point on, from back in 2014 when I went to my first trick shot tournament, I didn't have ability, but then a year or two later, it became a second nature to me. My favorite shot, I would say, had to be the quintuple jump shot. And by definition, I mean jumping 5 object balls at the same time, using 5 jump cue sticks in both your hands. My advice to all of those with or without autism, you can do anything you set your mind to, and once you do, you can accomplish anything you want in your lifetime. You just got to hone in forward, no matter how bad things or how good things get, just as long as you stick your mind to it, anything can come possible for you in your lifetime. Thank you, America's Guide Artistic Pool. I am truly blessed to be a part of this amazing opportunity, and I look forward to many more opportunities on the Billiard Network.
Well, there's one more thing I'd like to touch base on with artistic pool. We, in our movement, we have a lot of things going on that are things maybe we don't think about as part of a billiard movement. We do have the competition, which I've explained in detail to you. We've showed you some of the players. We also have this thing called the entertainment part of the sport, where players really, they just participate being entertainers. They go out, they do shows. Like an example, Charles Darling, Spitball Charles Darling. He won one of our world championships, by the way. And Spitball puts a cue ball in his mouth, spits it out around the table, goes in and out of a paper bag and makes the ball in a pocket. It's an amazing thing to see. He's world famous for that particular talent. We also have another guy by the name of Rick Hogginson. He's known as the Barber. He's a barber in northern Indiana, and he puts bowling balls on top of his head and balances them. He used to be in a circus and he used to do that kind of stuff. He does shows on roller skates. He's just got an amazing thing. He dresses up like Annie Oakley and shoots backwards through a mirror. I mean, pool balls with darts and stuff. The guy's phenomenal. If you've never seen him, you got to see him one day. And then, of course, the third part of our movement, besides the competition and the entertainment, we have the ability for people to just enjoy the joy of the role by watching an expression of what we believe our spirits are giving you. So what we want you to understand is this is a gift, we believe. It's a sport gift we've been given to watch over. We want you to enjoy the artistic pool movement, not only from the competition side, from the entertainment side, and from the ability to reach hearts with nothing else, just sitting in a chair and watching it, because it's such a joy to watch. So may you all enjoy this beautiful spirit of the artistic pool movement.